So, Coach, preseason practice as we get into that preseason now wrapped up. It is game week. For you in these preseason practices and scrimmages, everything completed. 6 days till game one now. How do you feel the preseason went overall?
First of all, it's my favorite time of the year, the camp. Spring practice probably number one, and then camp number two, because classes hadn't started. You got some new kids and other kids that are taking another step and improving themselves. And so it's football basically, 18 hours a day. So it's a lot of fun. Now, you're right, we're moving into the next phase of it. But I enjoyed camp. I think we got better. I think we kind of know what our strengths are and things we got to improve on. Defensively, we certainly took some steps. Thought offensively we're making progress. And when I say that, I'm not being critical of the kids on offense. There's just a lot of new guys. And so therefore, you're going to get better when you get into game week, because now your menu shrinks down, okay? And when you're installing during camp, right, there's a new packet of plays every day, which you will get to later on during the season when you get more game specific. So anyway, we're still work in progress right now on offense. Today's a big day for us as we get into this game week, but enjoyed the camp and love the kids' attitude. It was fun to come to work, fun to see them in practice every day, and I thought the defense really there was a lot of leadership and guys that wanted to get better.
And you've had 2 great years of quarterbacks. You had Keon Howard and then Dresser Wynn. Ahead of week one, I know you're probably sick and tired about having to talk about the quarterbacks, just like where Ty is at Alabama and Coach Saban having to answer all those questions about quarterback. But for you, ahead of week one, who's going to head out there for snap number 1 of the 2023 season?
Well, I don't know that I got to ask too much about the quarterback, to be quite honest with you. I mean, maybe people were thinking it, but, we had one that quit and left the program, so that ended that decision pretty quickly. Yeah. Okay, and that's all right. Things come up. But Kincaid Dent will be our starter. And, so it kind of sped up his growth here in the last week, getting all those first-team reps. And Cody Sparks moved into the 2 role. And so, we were able to go ahead and make those adjustments now as we get ready to go into the season. But, and Kincaid's part of the, what I'm talking about on offense, the newness. And, there's a lot of things that were – the Dresser Wynn, right, had been with me 6 years. That Kincaid is a smart guy, but, he's been in the Ole Miss offense for the last four years under 3 different coordinators. So, I expect him to get better throughout the season.
And staying with the offense, you've had great experience at the tackle positions with Lamar and Gavin Olson there. But looking at the interior of the offensive line, what have you seen from them?
Really pleased with, Van Avery at the center position, transfer from Ohio. I really feel like he's going to be a good player for us. And Big Noah at the left guard, who's transitioning, transfer from Arkansas Pine Bluff, from the tackle position to the guard. It gives us a lot more length and size, in there. And Drake at the right guard is a very physical player who also can play center for us as well. And Josiah, can play all 3 interior spots for us. So, we feel like we got 6 guys, and we've got to find the 7th and the 8th and the 9th, that can play, in our league and be able to, play quality football.
Defensively, led by Dalen Dotson, O'Shea Baker. Josh Hastings also has been playing pretty well in preseason camp. Jay Rogers as well, and many others. But who has really stuck out to you on the defensive side of the ball during your preseason?
Well, all those guys have certainly had their moments, and they've all certainly improved from last year. Every day, I'm very pleased with our interior guys. Okay. What we've got to find out is that a byproduct of the offensive line? Where are they? So when you get into game week, you'll kind of see, okay, is our defensive line do we have as much depth as it appeared in camp? Okay, to play winning football. But I'm not going to pick one guy, but there's some, Dot's had his days. Gio's had in a lot of plays. Jay Rogers has improved as a 6-year guy. Smiley's been hurt at the nose tackle. He came back last night. The linebackers, Jalen Sharp has certainly made a lot of plays, and we're longer and faster at linebacker this year. even though there's some new names in there as well with Rob Hicks and John Ford graduating. So, I like our interior. I do. I think that's a lot of good players and a lot of guys that if you look at our defense, there's a lot of UT Martin practices in those guys' background. There's a lot of guys that have been here, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm seeing the benefits of that throughout practice.
And talking about that, lost a lot of players to graduation. You lost your John Ford, Rob Hicks, Colton Dow. Congratulations to Colton, leading receiver for the Tennessee Titans in his final preseason game. And Dresser Wynn getting some playing time for the Rams. So just sidetracking with that real quick, how awesome is that for you as a coach? And Rodney Williams with the Steelers too. How cool is it for you to get the box score and see I coach that guy right now, he's playing in the National Football League?
No, it is. It's pretty neat. You're right. I'm not going to downplay that. I'm very proud to be a part of that, proud of those kids and their journey through our program here at UT Martin. And, I was a fan like everybody else, getting a chance to watch those guys play. And, I know it's a nervous time for them. Tomorrow's kind of cut day and stuff, but they'll be successful whatever they do. We're keeping our fingers crossed and wish the best for them.
Does that motivate current players, you think, and does it help recruiting?
Yeah. Yes to both those. Yes, recruiting-wise, that's an easy, hey, look at our – and, of course, we've got Terry Williams and Peyton Logan and Jalen Moore, in the NFL with the Jaguars and 2 guys in the Canadian League. So, from a skill standpoint, that's something that gets those skilled players excited that we recruit. But in the building, which is very, very important to me, on our team group text, right? Every time Colton or Dresser, somebody, has an article written about them or there's a video, somebody with video on their phone and put it on our group text. And it's very motivating to know, hey, those guys sat right beside me. They listen to this same conversation that the coaches are saying right now. They sat here. They were blessed with ability, but their work ethic of those guys was second to none. And, they left a legacy of themselves here at UT Martin.
Back to the preview for this team. Again, lost a lot of experience to graduation, but you look to this season, and you've got a new-look conference, 3 FCS top 25 teams on the schedule. So how does this 2023 UT Martin Skyhawk football team find their identity and not get lost in what last year's team did or the year prior?
There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of new guys on offense, so that's pretty easy. They Kincaid Dent, I don't even know if he's met Dresser before. Okay, maybe he has one time. So I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but there's a lot of new faces. Those guys are just trying to get themselves lined up right and play winning football. And then on defense, from the positive standpoint, Gio. Smiley, Dalen Dodson, those guys have been in the FCS playoffs. They've been at Montana State. They know the tempo and the speed of what that takes. They know the quality of practice that it takes to have those opportunities. So, what I've seen is those guys are not looking ahead. They're going day to day, grinding it out, trying to get better every day because there's no surprises for them. Okay, so, that's what my hope is, and that's what I've seen so far.
Coach, we look at week 1. For the first time since 2014, UT Martin's going to play the FBS number 1 ranked team in the country, and it comes in the form of back-to-back defending national champion, the Georgia Bulldogs. You look at this team on paper, and they've really got all the talent to go for a three-peat.
No, they've done a great job, Coach Smart, and that's you know how hard that is, right, to win back-to-back national championships.
Difficult.
I mean, it's not an accident. You don't luck into that. There was a plan and a thought-out plan, year-long plan, and they achieved it. What an awesome, just watching that 2 years in a row. So much respect to a staff and to a program that can do that, and then we have the dubious opportunity to play them again as they chase their three-peat.
Whenever you go against an FBS opponent like this, do you treat this game more differently than you would a conference game, or is it just the same preparation for both?
Yeah, it's the same preparation. I mean, I don't know what other people do. I know what we do right now. A couple things. One, no matter if it was game 9 or game 7, okay, it always has to be about us first. Always has to be how we practice, how we prepare. Do we know who to block? Do we know what gap we got to be in? Do we know our game plan? It has to be about us. Now, obviously, the first game, even more about us, right, with the new players that I was talking about, okay, because there's a lot of players on offense that have never been on the field with me before, all right, and I've never been on the field with them. So there'll be some transition when it comes to that. So always about us, especially the first game, okay, and then you put the quality opponent that we're playing, then therefore that's the challenge, first game.
And then the other part of it is it's a big crowd. It's going to be loud.
Yeah, no.
And it's different than most of the crowds we play in front of.
Oh, certainly, and last year we functioned, fairly well in the Knoxville crowd, okay. We did not in front of a quarter of that at Boise State, as we had a bunch of procedure penalties. So, you try to make those corrections and not let that get you because, you're fighting. Doesn't matter who you play, right? We always talk about beating the game. We always talk about, unforced errors. Those are things that are unforced errors, although, they come from the crowd, okay? But, the environments that you're going to play in. And so, we certainly got a plan for that, and hopefully the kids will be able to execute. But, that is you put that with the first game with new players against a quality opponent, certainly a lot of challenges.
And it's going to be Georgia's first night game in 2 years as well. So a lot of people, Coach, they would say going into this first game, they just want UT Martin to get out of it healthy. Some want UT Martin to come out here and get the greatest upset in the history of college football. But for you, what's your goal week 1 against the Bulldogs?
Well, I mean, you try to win every game you line up and play. We're all competitors, and that I would never sell our program short and our players short. Okay, so you call the game to try to have success. Never going into a game. I give our players way more credit than that of whoever we play. We just don't want to get somebody hurt. I think that's a defeatist attitude, okay? And I think that's not fair to the player. These seniors have only got 44 quarters left of their college football career, okay? So you give them a game plan, you coach them, and everybody's going in the same direction. So that never comes up. We don't ever talk about anything like that. Now, strategy-wise, I mean, we understand, we know what we're facing, we know. Some things you may see us do it next week, we won't do this week because we do understand, that's part of your game plan. We do understand, some speed advantages they have, some size advantages that they have. We don't want to put our quarterback in bad situations. We don't want to put our, any position in a bad situation, but yet at some point you still got to compete and give yourself a chance.
Well, Coach, you've taken out one FBS team in your career, got Memphis 2017 at the Liberty Bowl in 2012. For you, what's it take to beat an FBS opponent?
I don't know if it's any different than any other quality games. But I know what you're saying about that. And my experiences with it, a couple things that happen. When the crowd gets into it, okay, I think that happened to us a couple years in Florida, right? The game was fairly close. The crowd gets into it. Here comes a punch. You got to be able to stand it. You got to be able to stand it. First and foremost, you can't beat yourself. You can't let unforced errors, and then all of a sudden, you're out of the game in the first quarter because you're, always behind the chains.
Right.
Those are things that happen. If some things go your way early, right, at some point, a crowd's going to get behind their team and the energy's going to come, right? You got to be able to take that punch, and then it's kind of the normal thing where, can you get to the second half, just like we played any quality teams. Can you get to the second half with an opportunity? Those are things that as a head coach are at the back of my mind, but right now, we're just, hey, let's get lined up correctly. Let's communicate with each other. Let's get the ball snapped, and everybody get a hat on a hat.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.